Hello, dear teachers. How are you all doing? Hope you have listened to my earlier 2 or 3 podcasts which are there. And now, welcome to yet another episode on podcast that is TeachConnect Talks. Now, today's episode is not just another talk, it's a call to action. You're all passionate educators, and our idea is to just incorporate those kind of small tips in the classroom so that quality education happens at school. We are transforming the learning journey of the students. We are seeing that the students are able to transfer their knowledge onto real world complex problems. This is a chance to transform your classroom. Hi, I am Dr. Padmavati Tungaturthi from TeachConnect Talks. I am your mentor for today. Come on, grab a notebook, try to prepare all that notes which you can. The earlier 2 episodes about the strategies in teaching, I hope you all must have gone through and listened to them, and this is the third strategy which I am going to let you know today, the wonderful one. As I have told you in the first strategy podcast that these 3 strategies of differentiated instruction which I mentioned in the first podcast, the second one in series is about project-based learning, and the third one now is about experiential learning. We'll try to ignite the spark. We will transform teaching through this experiential learning. How are we going to do this? The statistics say that 85% of the teachers are aware of the concepts, but only 22% of the teachers implement these concepts in the classroom. So, why delay? What is stopping us from incorporating these small tips in the lesson plan? Let us work together to ignite that spark in the minds of the students. We will ask the students to do things by doing, learning by doing, and this is called experiential learning. Now here in today's topic, the teacher, who is the most sought after person in the school, is a passionate teacher. Let me ask you something. I just want to ask you, why did you become a teacher? You have become a teacher with a purpose, or you have become a teacher just because you found some gap time and you just want to finish off all the portion and be the first one to complete the syllabus or something like that? If you are not a teacher who is trying to create that aha moment for students, start that concept of trying to create an aha moment. You are in the limelight in the school. Students adore you as a teacher. You are a wonderful person. You are a good human being. Be a passionate teacher too. You are the hero of this story. You are the guide and you are the facilitator. By the way, do you all know the difference between a guide and a facilitator? A guide is somebody who is showing the path. He is asking the students to follow, and intermittently the guide will try to show the direction. The structure is given by the guide. The students will reach that learning outcome with the help of those steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, which is given by the guide. Now coming to the facilitator will try to give that scope for exploration. It's mostly student driven, and it will encourage that thinking capability in the student. It will help students to construct their own meaning, and constructivist theory and open-ended theory are very important in this facilitator method of teaching. You may start off as a guide, definitely, but you can end up being a facilitator. You can mix and match these two strategies. It is not necessary that you have to follow one strategy and try to be on the same strategy. It's all pick and choose. How you are going to pick up from one strategy and how are you going to end up into another strategy. even without your knowledge. Grab that cup of coffee and then sit there in front of this podcast, or are you doing some other chore? But please be attentive whatever I am speaking to you. This is a podcast which wants your 100% attention. Therefore, in today's conversation or today's monologue, or what do you say, in today's podcast, I would like to see you as a hero from tomorrow onwards in the classroom. Now, there is a problem. There is a problem everywhere, and here in the classroom also there is a problem. There is a disengagement of the students, distraction, and there is intermittent intervention of the students about another question which pops up their mind. Now, this is how we have social media conversation among the students, or we can expect them to talk about something else which they don't feel they are engaged in the classroom. We need to get them into this pool. We want the students to work on this. That means the teacher is responsible for the disengagement of the student. Therefore, the teacher must stay connected with the student. This is how we feel that the teacher must have a strategy of keeping an eye on the students and take that accountability for asking the students to focus. Therefore, then now, if once or twice, if I have an issue with the students in the classroom, I use these attention grabbers like 1, 2, eyes on me, or something like that. Or if I raise my hand and just ask the students to keep quiet. This is the kind of signals and body language which I use in the classroom so that the students are there and they notice my language of non-verbal communication. I think you all agree with me. And I've met so many teachers across the country, from metro cities to rural schools, and I've been mentoring teachers and the principals all through. And I would like to tell about one teacher who I met, Miss Priya. She teaches history. She does not just read that Mughal Empire, or she does not just read out about the character of Mahatma Gandhi. She just creates that scene in the classroom of Dandi March, asking the students to follow the march and see that the students experience it while they are marching in the corridor. Imagination. They are imagining that they are walking and having a march all around. See, you don't have to go to a lake, an ocean, for something like this. We can do just that in the classroom or in the corridors in front of the classroom. If you are asking the students to do some experiment, you can do a mock in the classroom, the teacher led, or if you want the students to have an experience, bring everybody to the laboratory, and the induction of the lesson can happen in the laboratory. That's how a 6th grade science teacher, she learns that from other teachers and team teaching. She learned how to teach beyond the textbook. The students have started growing edible plants in the school garden, a small set apart area, good enough for them to enjoy and discriminate the various vegetables. They have grown in a particular pattern, like leafy vegetables and the vegetables which have ivies and without ivies, so that they can understand that all these types of plants can be grown in a small area. So exactly what is experiential learning? In today's topic, ignite the spark. We are trying to ignite the spark in the students so that they do their experiential learning. There are many methods of experiential learning. It is not just hands-on. What they are doing is an experiential learning. Participation of the students is what we call as experiential learning. If the child is experiencing something, doing, listening, getting the first-hand information, that is what we can call as experiential learning. It's something more than hands-on. If you take active learning, point number 1, this is active learning. Let students engage themselves. That should be an active learning concept. Think, pair, share. Why are some leaves green in color and some others red in color? This is a question where the students can think, they pair up, and they share, or they can even have photosynthesis happening in these topics as a class debate. Because sometimes the teacher too will be in a thought that whether the photosynthesis happens in red color plants or not, red color leaves. Do photosynthesis reactions occur there? How is she going to check? That's how we need to have project-based learning, wherein a simple newspaper or a newsletter can become a project-based learning because the students are learning by building. Now, if there is a service learning, if they are involving themselves in the community service and a social service, like educating the community neighbors for waste management or clean drinking water or how to store water, these are the examples. And how physical fitness is important. This is something which is a service-based learning. Therefore, I think now we have completed. We're on the task for the fourth one, that is field-based learning. The first one is active learning, what we have been letting you know, and the second one is project-based learning. The third one is service learning. And come on, let us take up field-based learning. Plan visits to museums. Salarjung Museum at Hyderabad, a wonderful place to understand the history of the Nawabs. How about farms? There are so many farms these days wherein Sid's farm, the Sid's milk farm, is allowing us to book a farm for one day, go visit and come. That's a science park also wherein there are farm animals available. That is learning by observing. Students learn by observing. And there is also simulation and role play. Students can work by simulation. A mock parliament is all what has been happening. How about a courtroom drama? There are movies, there are episodes on television also about the courtroom. This courtroom drama, the judges, the prosecutors, the lawyers, there is an analytical 21st century skill incorporated in this. That's game-based learning. When you are understanding the logic, game-based learning comes into picture. This happens with outdoor learning. Game-based learning can be done by tech or without tech, that is going into the ground and also doing. Technology incorporation, that is, it's not just called game-based learning. Tech, that is how game-based learning can be tech and also non-tech. Now we can ask students to do some quiz, fill up a form, and see that they get prizes at the end of the completion and submission of the form. This is what we can learn through fun, and it's very challenging. There's an outdoor and adventure learning. The same game-based learning can be incorporated to outdoor adventure learning. Now there's an artistic expression also. You can paint pictures and you can see what you can see beyond your vision, your alignment of a vision. So what is observed very close is different from what is observed from a bird's eye view. If a student is doing this kind of artistic expression for bird's eye view, then the students can zoom out and watch what's happening in the outside world. Then there should be, how are we going to do this? kind of experiential learning. There should be a 5-step plan for everything. I like the number 5-step plan. Sounds amazing. You pick up a topic, add a 10 minutes experiential moment, but take care to see that you align it with the learning outcome. You reflect on what went on well and what did not go on well and document it. This is what is a complete experiential learning package. Picking up a topic, do not worry about picking up a topic which is, please do not assume that it's a complicated one. Any topic students can work based on the grade level. The currently difficult topic you can take up because children will be more interested in doing difficult topics by learning by doing method. Give them a certain amount of time, question, and how are you going to do it? Align it with the learning outcome. Outcome is very important. How the students are moving away, going out and coming back into the content is important. The learning outcome needs to be completed. The learning outcome has to be done. In the chat box, in the description box, I will put up the learning outcomes NCERT Achieving Learning Outcomes resource book by NCERT, which is followed by the CBSE. This is in alignment with our CBSE mandates. Therefore, that is very important and it's class-wise. Teachers have to complete it with great dedication, without which the students will go haywire on this. Now, how are they reflecting? Are they reflecting? What is that they have done well? Where is that point where they have to get that extra help? How are they going to document it? Document it, it shouldn't be misunderstood as putting it in a small portfolio or putting it only on the chart paper. There can be reels made, there can be videos made, quick videos. Let them be aware of the quick tools like Loom, Zoom, where they can record. And you will thank yourself later for allowing the students to use these so that they can bring out the complete project to your place. Therefore, if these 5 steps are followed and if you know whether you are guiding or whether you are facilitating with the student, and if you have one kind of activity like field-based, service learning, project-based, game-based, whatever you want, then the outcome will definitely match to the learning outcome what you are creating, and this will tightly fit in to your lesson plan. Yes, there is resistance from the students. There will be resistance from the parents because fun-loving classroom, sometimes parent may not love it. At home also, students are not rote writing, they are not rote learning. They are doing something very different where it might look to the parents that the students are playing, that their children are playing all through. Educate the parents also in order to overcome this resistance. If you know that you are doing something very creative and an offbeat one, please do let the parents know about this because it is their right to ask you questions. Be proactive in keeping the parents informed about the kind of work they are doing. Now, it is not only that complete project work will be done at home. Some of the project work can be done at school. Roles can be designated. And this experiential learn comes by collecting the information from the complete area. You can use your environment, you can use your community, you can use chalk piece, you can use paper, you can use communication, you can use debate in order to grab that collection of information and the perspectives how they are going to do it. I have seen students who were labeled slow, they too come alive because maybe as per the visual, auditory, reading, writing and the kinesthetic way of learning, VARK what we call, students activate their senses and their best sense will come out. For if you want a student to build up something, you will see the future engineer in your group already. This gives him an experience to learn. How about observing something very carefully and making a notes of it? Sometimes some experiential learning concepts take a little longer time than the others. Maybe some take about 15 to 20 days and some can be done within about half an hour. Are you allowing the time for the student to assimilate the content? This will definitely transform the lives of students because there is a transferable learning which is happening. In this way, we can avoid the real failure. And for more ideas, you need to visit www.teachconnect.in. TeachConnect is a NEP aligned site wherein you can be able to do that professional development to upskill yourself. To avoid failures, we need to prepare a lot, but okay, the failure can be taken up as a next question. The real failure isn't there when students are working a lot on the journey. The destination is important, definitely, but the journey is also equally important. If the joy is brought back into the classroom, if the students are able to reflect on what kind of experiential learning has happened very effectively so that deeper retention of content happen, if they are feeling that they are learning something, if it is real learning happening, then that's the success. This week, we are happy that this TeachConnect Talks podcast is giving you an overview of igniting the spark into student, and you are very happy that I think you must have made some notes also. The topic got very serious halfway through because I was just focusing on my vision of how am I bringing the content to the end and how am I going to help you all. We are transforming teaching through learning experience with the students. Wherever the students go, they can experience. This is how we end this podcast for today, wherein I think the spark is ignited in you all, and just prepare your lesson plan, change those old lesson plans, change those mundane lesson plans into something which is very interesting for the student. The learning will be stronger when you are using teaching strategies which are apt for the content for the students. Thank you so much. Hi, I am Dr. Padmavati Tungaturti from TeachConnect Talks. Stay tuned for my next podcast next week. Bye-bye. Until then, signing off here.